Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Today is April 15th, 2023. And we're on to a new chapter with the traditional and digital live stream. We're back into digital today. And I have a lot of cool stuff that I want to talk about. But first, before we get into that, I want to get into what we finished up and give you kind of a look at, what we spent a lot of time on. Okay, so this is this is a better photograph of the finished oil painting. Still not the best photograph still, but actually no, that's the lower quality one. Let me open up the better quality one. That one is actually for my website. I can't make the images too high quality for my website because they won't load. There we go. Here's the high quality image. So, hey, good morning, Ula. Thanks for joining. Let me know if I sound okay, guys, because I'm back to digital and it's been 40 days since we've been here. Good morning, Chris. The tiger is fantastic. Looking forward to the full portrait process. Yeah, really happy with the tiger, the way it turned out in the oil painting. Yeah, really happy with this. Not much else to say about it. Happy with it and kind of glad that it's done. And I'll probably show it off again after it dries completely and I put the varnish over everything. So let's turn that off. Okay. Sorry, getting my bearings now that we're into a new realm, or a different realm of things. Okay. Portrait painting process. Now there's a couple things that I wanted to start out this live stream with, because I wanted to focus on interpreting the reference rather than painting the reference directly. Like a copy from the reference. It's something that I've spoke about before in the live stream when we were doing the oil painting, where I find it hard to interpret rather than just copy what I see. I find it hard to just, look for the broad strokes, paint just the impression of what I'm seeing rather than everything. And I have a lot of inspirational images that I want to start with. And so a lot of this stream is going to be looking at old master paintings, new master paintings, all kinds of different artists, and really looking at what they do, and learning from them. I have like 41 different images to go through. And now we're not, I like keeping things actionable. This is not just going to be me looking through these and saying, oh, that's cool, and that I like that. What we're actually going to do is take some of these and use them as inspiration while we're painting. And yeah, we're going to pull out some of this information. So we're starting with Van Gogh. I'm reading my notes, by the way. That's why I'm kind of cutting in and out here. Okay. So starting with Van Gogh, this is one of my most favorite portraits from Van Gogh, and I mean, there's not a lot of direct copy from life here. A lot of really good drawing and understanding of form, and that's what you'll see through a lot of these references. Is the drawing is well done, the understanding of form is so well done that they can do very minimal brush strokes and get the impression of a head. So fantastic painting by Van Gogh, and probably not one that I will actually use, to tell you the truth. The one thing I like about this painting is the fact that, you know, it's kind of the splotchism that I use in a way. If you look, he's going with the form in a lot of these instances. Down the slope of the nose, into the cheek, kind of around the cheek, down to the chin. Look at the strokes of the mustache and the beard. It goes vertical. How the strokes of oil paint changes as he goes around the brow. And look how it's green. That's fantastic. Some of these I don't have names for. I usually just remember them. So this is a painting from Robert Liberace, a close-up of a painting. This is a person that I like a lot. Liberace. I need to put these names in chat. So let me see, Van Gogh, because I can chat. Always forget that I have the ability to actually chat as well. And then this one I'm looking at is Robert Liberace. I always say, in my head, I say Robert Liberus. It's easier to spell. It's Liberace. What I like about the way he does things is it's very soft. A lot of soft edges everywhere. And it's a very impressionistic style. It's closer to Monet in a lot of ways. And how he kind of works up the paint and kind of smushes it everywhere is pretty interesting. I may pull some of what he does as an example. And what I'm going to do, so right now I'm using Image Glass. I'm on Windows. I'm using a program called Image Glass to look at these images. And if I right click on these, hopefully you're seeing my cursor and all that. I know I have to turn that on. I wonder if this window is coming open. We'll see. If I right click on this, I can open with, and it'll ask me if I want to open with a certain program, and it'll be Krita. You may have not seen that. There you go. And it opens in the background. So I'm going to collect that one. This one is wonderful. This is Andrew Salgado. Let's put that in. Andrew Salgado. Now, I really love this person's work because it's so... I mean, it really takes Van Gogh to the next level. We're not looking at these little small strokes anymore, but really big, broad strokes. And I've talked about this before. You know, why are we able to see this as a portrait? Why does it look like a well-drawn portrait? Because there's an understanding, a deep understanding of drawing and form here. The drawing is well done. Everything's kind of outlined in black as well, so that really helps out. So the color really doesn't matter. It's the value range. And if I open this in Krita, and then we switch over to Krita, and then I hold Control and hit U. Actually, that's not the right way to remove saturation. The best way to remove saturation, I figured this out, is to hit Insert, create a new layer, and change that layer to saturation, I believe. And then I think you fill it with a color. Like black, I think. I'm not sure. Yeah, there you go. Let me make sure that I select a full black. I need to change to this one here. So why is this a better way to change the saturation on an image? Because when we change the saturation with the Control U, it actually kind of smushes up all the values together. The very technical term there, it smushes it all up. Let me zoom in here. I'm doing this all with a mouse right now. So there's a really well done value range here. Honestly, I would say that the value range could be done a bit better. There's, the forehead looks kind of flat. That's kind of flat. I think it's the drawing that's really allowing us to see what's going on there. There is a definite understanding how color involves value. As you can see, the photograph or the picture in the background, or the window, whatever that is, it's dark to set off the face, but it's very bright. We have that against this other side. So Andrew Salgado, really wonderful there. Let's keep going. The next one, this is Anne Gale. I love Anne Gale's work. You guys are probably thinking, holy cow, I thought Chris was going to pull up some imagery that was very traditional. Well, yeah, I do have some of that. I definitely have some of that. But I think we have looked too long to the 1800s, to the 19th century and before. There are thousands and thousands of artists that have surpassed what was done then and have taken it to a new level. And being able to look at these artists and to understand what they do is to bring us up to the 21st century and beyond, to prepare for that. It's, I'll have some Sargent in here, Soroya, Zorn, that kind of thing. But I really look at these artists more than anything as this kind of understanding. I love the influence here is Picasso with, what is that movement? Cubism with Picasso. That's the influence here. Also, any other kind of impressionistic art kind of taken to the next level. This is one where there's a kind of a deconstruction happening here, where you can tell that this is a portrait, but not so much. You can even see somewhat of an emotion on the face. It's really questioning, how much do you need in a portrait? How much is necessary? I'm actually going to open this one with Krita as well and really collect this one. And what's nice about it is it has that question. It's questioning, Chris, how much do you actually need, right? And I feel like if I could push it this far, push it way off the charts, and then make a portrait that still looks like a head and still could be, understood as a head with some kind of expression, then I could bring it back. Then I have the skill to bring it back as well. So this is a new one. So this is Azat. Oh, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that name. Azat Nurgaleev. This is a digital artist. A lot of the digital artists that I look at, I pull from ArtStation. This reminds me a lot of Andrew Salgado, which we just looked at. There's a bit of more harmony in the face, but these very different colors. Look at the drawing, guys. Get rid of all the color here, and the drawing just stands well. This head was carved out of stone. This is a person that knows all of the aspects of the head to a T, definitely. Knows all of the planes of the head. Let's do this. This whole stream could be me talking about art, guys, and I think it's fine, honestly. Let's see. We always get into this aspect of, what brushes do I use? I don't really care right now. I'm just going to use this one. You look at these definite plane changes that we got. You know, this kind of broadening of the forehead that happens right there. You know how we have the front plane of the forehead? There's actually several planes of the forehead. There's 1, 2, 3, and they kind of float to the background. These wonderful, like, simplification of the different planes of the nose. Look at this. There's a really great tutorial or course that Marco Bucci has that breaks down the head, and he goes through all this. I mean, how structural is all that? It's just fantastic drawing. It's one of those things where no matter what artist we look at, the one thing that you'll see is a tremendous control in drawing and value, proportion, all that. This is another one by Azat. I love the blue. Look at that blue. It's not quite teal, thinker, but it is a wonderful blue. See, in some of this, we could easily put the cart before the horse, right? We could try and do something like they're doing, but could be better for us to just start out with, you know, understanding the head and the drawing really well. This is another one, Azat. Wow, I've collected a lot from Azat. I love this person's work. It's all drawing and value. Look at the structure of the head here. I feel like if you really understand the structure of the head, you really got it down. I mean, the rest of it's just like fun brushstrokes and color and different planes, things like that. So I'm going to collect this one as well. I'm going to have all kinds that we'll put in the creative document to follow. This is going to be a reminder to understand the head. You know, get that structure down. This is Colin Davidson. C-O-L-I-N Davidson. It's a portrait of Glenn Hansard, I believe. Really great drawing and structure of the head. I believe this painting is huge. It's a really, really large painting. So this person puts on paint with just really big tools. Look at the subtle value difference. All of the structure of the eye here. Beautiful work. And it really takes it beyond into the contemporary realm with just saying, you know, none of this matters. None, the hair, the side of the face, whatever. It's all right here in the eyes and the nose and the mouth. You know, just in this triangle is the most important thing. This is from ArtStation. The very first time I ever got on ArtStation, I saw this person's work. This is Danny, let me see, D-A-N-N-Y L-A-I-L-A-I, Danny Lilai. I have a few pieces from this person, but I love the, it's a bit different than what we just looked at because it's very soft. It's soft everywhere, and there's a lot of glowing light. You know, it's digital work here. Just a wonderful softness, wonderful kind of glazes in between. You can see a depth within the paint here. Fantastic. And here's one just black and white, just wonderful drawing. I've always said, you know, many a time, if you can get to this point, the drawing and value to this point, it doesn't matter what color you put over it. You know, you get this kind of understanding. And that's why we'll start our portrait, is with a drawing and getting this kind of understanding, and then working our way up to. I wish I could draw that good. I don't think I can. I need to draw a lot more. This is actually a color study. This is Dong Lu Yu. On ArtStation, this is digital piece. Just a quick color study. I think it's probably from a movie. If it is, or a TV show or something. I don't know which one. But look how simple it is. Just really big brush strokes, getting the light and dark. Just wonderful studies to just get the generalization of the head down. Understand that, and then, building up the detail from there. This is something that's always been hard for me. Like, I would always go for the detail, but we're going to try and work our portrait from, the broad to the specific. Okay, going back in time now, this is Fechin. I forget his first name, but we'll just say Fechin. F-E-C-H-I-N. Russian artist, really famous Russian artist. Look how soft this is. It's very close to Robert Liberace. Very soft. I mean, I've actually seen his paintings in person, and they are breathtaking. Tons of portraits. This is a guy that waits for the paint to dry on his palette until it's a certain thickness, like a certain dryness, and then he paints. Or he painted. Really interesting. I mean, it turns into pixels after a while, but you back out and you see a full portrait. But it's just nothing but just craziness. I know there's a hand there, but he's not describing fingers or anything, right? This is one I just collected recently. So this is Georgi, G-O-R-G-I, G-E-O-R-G-I-E-V. Georgi Georgiev. So another one, ArtStation. Getting closer to the cartoon, which is, absolutely wonderful. Look how bright that is. I mean, it's kind of hurting my eyes. It's so bright. This is a very high-key painting. And I love how high-key it is. But that structure of the head is there. Very simple. Keeping it simple. It's something that you'll see a lot of today in social media is, these kind of simplistic portraits that are just, really wonderful to consume, to look at. But there's a ton of understanding of the head and value and drawing and color and everything there. Oh, I love this one. So this is Huang, G-U-A-N, G-J-I-A-N. I'm not going to pronounce the name. So this is one of the most followed persons on ArtStation, and I just love the translucency of everything, how it glows. We have structure, but I feel like we can see through the bridge of the nose there. Look how beautiful that is. There is details, but you can tell that this person was able to get the structure and everything down, very simply, and then just, bring in a bunch of these whites and things in the details. It looks like a thick impasto paint, whatever they're using, some kind of Photoshop brush, I'm sure. I'm gonna add this one to our list. I really like that one a lot. This is Javorej. Again, I just want to look at, structure of the head. We're getting into a lot of digital works here. This is very similar to a lot that we've seen. Oh, here's Sargent. So John Singer Sargent. Probably one of the artists that most artists look at for, focus on brushstroke rather than detail. There's even a tutorial on ArtStation for, how to paint like Sargent, which is really interesting. And the guy actually does a great job. I ended up purchasing that, of going through and giving some understanding of Sargent. But the problem with the tutorial was that, it was kind of denigrating anything that goes beyond what Sargent does, because he was looking at other artists like Robert Liberace and saying, no, you're not supposed to do things this way. And it's like, no, you can. That you can make a wonderful portrait out of it. You don't have to look just like Sargent. But just absolutely wonderful. Very simple. Look how simple that is. You know, it's kind of like during this painting, the child probably said, okay, I'm done. And then Sargent was like, yeah, that's fine. I'm done. Just left it at that. This is actually oil. Li Wendong. Just fantastic oil paintings here. Influenced by Lucian Freud. And we have a Lucian Freud in here that we'll look at. One thing to notice on here, and Lucian Freud does this a lot, but you can see a bit more depth in this painting. A bit more turn of the form from light to shadow, so you get you know, a three-dimensional idea. But in most of Lucian Freud's works, they were very flat, all about the surface. So it was kind of like this play between the three-dimensional and the two-dimensional, but a deep understanding of the head, the drawing. You know, this nostril is like way off, but who cares? I mean, I can feel this form. Very simple. Love the work. This is Robert Liberace again. I love his work. It's interesting how he can get the same effect or similar effect to simplicity, but instead of, you know, focusing on a lot of edges in the work, here you'll see a lot of separated brush strokes and these, you know, hard edge and then soft things and then hard edge within the form itself. For Robert Liberace, he does this, but everything is soft everywhere. There's a softness throughout. I mean, look at this ear. It's an ear, but there's like 20 different colors in there. It's fantastic. I love this arm. Look at the colors in this arm, guys. We have reflected green off the bottom here. We have green here. We have a gray, a yellow, a blue. I mean, this is real Caucasian skin. This is what you see. These yellows. And, you know, a deep understanding of anatomy. You can see the elbow there. You can see the deltoid. You can see the tricep, the forearm muscles. He loves anatomy. So, amazing draftsman. Look at this hand. Jeez. Goals. Definite goals there. Another one by Robert Liberace. Just the portrait now. So Robert Liberace comes from the Studio Incaminati school. It is a school that was created by Nelson Shanks. I'm going to put that down there. Studio Incaminati. I have no idea how to spell that. By Nelson Shanks. Now, Nelson Shanks was a very detailed painter. But the influence you can see with all the coloration. I don't have any portraits from Nelson Shanks because they're so detailed. Okay. One thing I should say before I go any further is I'm dealing with some tremendous back pain. Yesterday I actually had to stop halfway through and just go lay down for the rest of the day because of back pain. So I have a timer set where every 30 minutes I need to get up and do stretches. So we're going to take a quick break here. If you're sitting and you have back pain, if you want to get up and move around, get some tea, get some coffee, here's a couple minutes. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, if you're interested, if you do have lower back pain, I just got up and did some stretches, kind of like trying to touch my toes, some twists, a cobra, a yoga cobra stance, and then a couple other stretches. There's some specific exercises you can do for lower back pain. And for artists that sit all the time digitally doing art, at one point I'm going to get a standing desk so that I can switch between standing and sitting all the time. It's something that we need to deal with, something that is keeping me from doing what I love to do because of it. So I think next time, I didn't really have a lot of time yesterday to prepare for this stream because of the back pain. So at some point I'll get a stretch break screen up. Okay. So this is a newer one that I've collected. So Lisa Parfenova. This almost looks like it's direct from life. A digital painting direct from life. Life drawing session or something like that. But just very simple. If I could look at a photograph and just come out with this simplicity, good drawing and simplicity, the rest of it's done. And this is the importance of getting a good start in starting the painting. A good start is, almost better than a good finish. So this is Lexin Yin from ArtStation, from a movie. I'm not sure what movie. Just a lot of crazy strokes there. Same person. Structure of the head is there, and it's almost like all of these strokes are just kind of like surface marks more than anything. There's nothing in the shadow. It's just this real big block, all in the head in this area. Those big shapes. Shape design is going to be an important part of what we're going to be doing. I love this one. I didn't see a lot of this person's work, and anything like this in all of their work. But this one just really stood out to me. Is look how simple that is. You get all of the good drawing, a great drawing of the head, and then just interpreting an impression. But it's all there. This is another one from the same individual. Very simple. Look at the hand. It's all over the place. Actually, as I look at this, you see right here, this is a photograph, and they've gone over the photograph. It's a good way to really practice. How could we take the photograph down to its most simple terms? Right? Oh, here's Lucian Freud. Self-portrait by Lucian Freud. Lucienfreud. Pretty harsh, Here's where you take the brush. He's taken the brush stroke to a very harsh level. Lots of hard edges everywhere. Not a lot of softening down in any place. I feel like, this is oil. I feel like if you get it to this point, you could take it almost any place. Oh, I love this person's work. This is Manzi Jackson. Fantastic. Just absolutely beautiful work. Reminds me a lot of Robert Liberace, with all the color in the head, or Andrew Salgado with all the colors in the head, yet a more refined drawing within this. Very refined. In fact, I believe that Manzi could probably unrefine this even more and still be amazing. Here's another one. Look at this. Absolutely beautiful. The hair, you know, this green afro is just beautiful. You know, so we have all these oranges and then a green in the background. All of this green in the background just really sets everything off. There's some messaging here as well. Love this work. Yeah, it's really good. This is a quick one from, this is ArtStation as well. It's Nemo Art, so a lot of people don't go by their name. So this is actually really good. I'm gonna bring this in to Krita, one of the ones that we'll collect, and I'm gonna start going a little bit faster now because we're so far into this. This is how Sargent would kind of work up the head. At one point, some of the commentary for Sargent was, you know, he would create something like a wigmaker's block, which is some, you know, it's a, you know, imagine a carving of a head where all the features are just softened down to where it looks kind of like putty. And that's where he would get to. And so just kind of like this, where there's not a lot of structure. It's just looking at the light and dark side and the values in between, the halftones in between. Getting that down, getting, you know, placement of things down, not worrying about any of the details. This could be how we work up the art portrait that we're going to be doing. This is again from Nemo Art. If we go deep into this one, it's just basically nothing there, you know. Very simple. Oh wow, Rembrandt didn't want to load, or it's loading. There we go. So this is Rembrandt. I'm going to say obvious there, but I believe many people maybe don't know Rembrandt. And this image is so massive. I actually downloaded this from the Google Art Project. And let me show you how massive this is. So we're at 30% here. And if I can continue to zoom in, 70%, 80%, 90%. There we are, 100%. What I really love about this, and I've talked about it before, is right here on the right hand side, this is the gray of the canvas. So he painted on gray. Like you can see every single little crack in the oil paint. Isn't it fantastic? And a lot of the time, there's some of these little holes, these little interstices that are in the paint that are really dark. I think I talked about this yesterday, or the day before, where he would do this impasto and then put this really light wash over everything and then wipe it all off so that in those little interstices, those little spaces in the paint would be full of, you know, pigment. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Getting that simple understanding of the form. You can see it on the nose. We got one big brushstroke describing the tip of that nose there. And then, you know, not just putting a stroke down and leaving the stroke here for the highlight of the nose. There's a blending of that white within the paint that's on there, you know, in a kind of like circular mash, you know, fashion, just to keep it kind of fresh and interesting. Yeah, master. Richard Schmid. So unless you buy his books, you really can't find really high quality images of his online. The Schmid family has been really adamant about, keeping everything, close to them, which is smart, not keeping, making sure that no high ref, things get online or easy to get to. But his Alla Prima book is great for digital artists, great for traditional artists. And this reminds me a lot of Sargent, Sorolla, Zorn, all of those artists. Simple brushstrokes, simple understanding of the form of the head, the light, the dark, and the transfer between those. Robert Henry is another one. So right along those same lines. So Sargent, Zorn, Schmid, Henry, Sorolla, all the same along the same lines there. Here's another one by Robert Liberace. I love this one because it's just like a fade of nothing. Just where there's not much structure in the head at all, but I love the portrait. I love there's an expression there, you can tell what's going on, and it's just fun with paint. This is Sorolla. I think it's Joaquin Sorolla, S-O-R. I'm just going to put Sorolla. The ability to, simplify the forms so much. Sorolla was known for being able to dash out one of these paintings in just no time. It's really amazing work. Moving along now. This is T-Me from ArtStation. Kind of a magical, mystical piece. But I found this, it's very cartoony, but I loved how, the brushstrokes were just everywhere on this, just all over the place. It's really interesting. This is Thomas Eakins. Thomaseakins. So Thomas Eakins. Gonna just pass up some of these. Thomas Mahon. I collected this because the wonderful thing about ArtStation is you can find some artists that you like, and they'll just put up, tutorials or the progression of their work. So they have this beautiful picture of their cat, right? Well, not a beautiful picture at all. It's probably like from a cell phone, and they're like, oh, I could definitely see the light and dark side of this cat's head. And this is how the person worked it up. So a drawing, very quick drawing. I don't know why they put the green in the eyes that way. And then simplifying the shapes, doing the dark background, and then, adding all the embellishment on top of it. Very simple, very beautiful. But the important part about this is not that we came out with a painting that was absolutely fantastic and mind-blowing, but that they gave the whole process. A lot of that is on ArtStation. This is from the same person. Let's write that down. So this is Thomas Mahon from ArtStation. He takes this image of Danny DeVito. I believe that's Danny DeVito. Does a rough sketch. Even tells you what he's doing here. I'm not going to read through the whole thing. The whole process is there. So a great source of inspiration and information is ArtStation. I love ArtStation. This is, I don't know the full person's name, Uribe. That's the last name. Just beautiful painting. I think this painting could have been better if they gessoed the canvas and got rid of all the texture, the canvas texture, or maybe that's what they wanted. But it's kind of distracting, honestly, the canvas texture. Always, so if you're doing traditional work, you can get gessoed canvas, but they have a very thin gesso on them. And if you're doing This is probably a smaller piece. I don't think it has the size. The smaller you work, the more you need to gesso the canvas and kind of sand it down so that you don't get all that texture in it. So something to always think about. And I think this is the last one, Zach Retz. I like this one just because it looks so digital, you know, hard edges everywhere. But we got a figure in a store. Done. Okay, and then we're back to Van Gogh. All right, next step in this. Oh, actually, there's one other thing that I wanted to show off here. And I'm sorry, this is going a lot longer. You guys were wanting to probably get deep into actually working digitally on a portrait, but I think this is really important, guys. And I've said multiple times, we're in a digital realm. We are in the 21st century. If you're not creating a collection of art that you like on your computer or somewhere, start it now. There's so much that you can learn from, that you can be inspired by. And as I was saying, that ArtStation is a great source for learning. This is something I'm going to be using a lot. I go to ArtStation for a lot of reference packs, and this is, you can see the photo reference pack at the bottom, how they advertise it for ArtStation. And if this is, I forget the person's name that creates these references. And now the warning here is if you go to ArtStation and you look at their resources and the references for figures, you have to be okay with nudity. There is a lot of nudity. And I hope I don't have any photos on here with a bunch of nudity on it. If they do, I may have to pass it up really quickly. So these reference packs that I'm looking at are from Satinzilla, Zillah. Let me see, I'll write that down. Satin, Zillah. Reference packs. So what's great about this is this person has started doing some blog posts on ArtStation, and it's called Your Art, My Reference. And so he'll get people to, I guess he gets people to submit, or he looks up art and he knows they come from his reference packs, and he'll pick out either the reference pack that is associated with it, and within those reference packs you can actually pick out the real reference. Like this painting, digital painting, was done from a reference inside of this pack. What's great about that is you could look at an artist you admire on ArtStation, and there's I'm going to go through a bunch of these, and look at the reference and see how they interpreted it. And this is all about not copying from the photo, but interpreting the photo. So we get into a lot of fantastical stuff. So really interesting. You know, look at how this person just looked at the back of, you know, just some of it, and then interpret it in so many different ways. Beautiful painting, by the way. Look at that painting. The background? I think the background is too high detail. Look how sharp everything is in the background. It's like they could have faded that out a lot more. But the atmospheric perspective helps it out. So absolutely beautiful. So you can see the reference comparison there. This was a real poster for Metallica. And you can see where it came from. Isn't that just amazing? I think it was on stage with Metallica. I'm not sure. Yeah, beautiful. Here's a person that, I mean, look at the dog in the first picture in the reference that painted this photo, and that looks, actually that looks like a real oil painting. That is not digital at all. You know, painted directly from it. I love this. It's just a complete different interpretation of what's there. They know what they can pull out from it, like the specifics on this flag and the folds, and then changed up the head in a lot of ways. I think I lost a lot in the head. I like all the coloration, everything in this head, but you know, that's their interpretation of it, and that's what's important. This one's wonderful. Looking at just the pose and saying, oh, I really like that pose. But instead of being a warrior person, I'm going to make, you know, kind of like a Star Wars person. This is beautiful. Look at this, guys. That crown of just orange and bright light is... And the blue... wow. Absolutely beautiful. All from this reference. And you can go back and forth. You can see that they pulled just about everything from the reference as far as the body and all of the chainmail. Actually, this is probably... There's so much detail in there. They probably did some photo bashing. Yeah, I would say so. On that. But who cares? I don't care. I would buy that print. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Oop, I'm going to have to pass that one up. Sorry. Can't show a lot of that. So this is really interesting. I think this is a three-dimensional version of this two-dimensional reference. We have two here, you know, directly from the reference. I love this one a lot because you see how simple, how they've simplified the reference down into just basic strokes. Love that. Oh, this one's amazing. So using the same structure, changing up, you know, like here we can see the chin on the right, changed the entire composition, straightened out the arm, made, you know, this wonderful triangle a little bit more prominent, bigger sword. Just beautiful. That interpretation. Yeah, not sure if this comes directly from the pack. I'm pretty sure it does, but you know, how they can make, oh, hands, you know, interpretation of hands. Moving through these a little bit faster. Oh, this one, I'll stop on this one for a little bit. So this is the cover photo for the reference. And you can see what a beautiful portrait this person has made from the reference. And how they've interpreted all of these kind of muted tones here and brightened everything up. But the form is there, the drawing is there. And you can tell that they did not copy directly from this because, you know, it's a bit off. It's different from the photo. Like, even if you look at, you know, how the top of the brow lines up with the top of the ear, and you try to do that here, no, they drop the ear down. Right? But that doesn't matter. It really doesn't. I mean, it's a beautiful portrait. You know, maybe someone will come in here and go, oh, that ear is a bit further down than it should be. But I don't care. Yeah, that's really good. Now this one's fun. You can go many ways with your interpretations. Here's a direct photo bash from there. Not a really great piece, but another way to actually use these references. This one's good. I believe this one is painted over the reference itself. You can kind of tell when they get, you know, so textural and get these perfect, you know, transitions of halftone when it's coming directly from the photo. I could be completely wrong. This person could be watching me right now going, no, dude, I painted that from scratch. Then I'd be amazed. Oh, I love this one. It's a beautiful painting, right? The reference is the bird, and I think they just kind of took the bird right out of the image and just kind of popped it there. Hands. This is wonderful. These interpretations of hands. Not sure where they got these hands from. That's kind of crazy. Here's a direct drawing from this reference pack. You know, kind of a gray drawing. Or, sorry, monochromatic drawing. I love the simplicity in this one. Again, we go back to the simplicity. This one's fantastic. This is an artist that took the reference and really took it a lot further. Made a story with it. This is beautiful. How can you take a reference, or you know, I'm pretty sure this exact pose is within the 719 photos in this reference. Took the exact same pose, looked at all the anatomy and everything, put pants on the individual, put wings on the individual, added a dragon into it, and all these other accoutrements to create a story. Absolutely fantastic. Here's another one. That could be the same artist. And you can see the pose here that they've used. And I think this is... there's a Greek or Roman myth where... I can't remember the exact story, where one god was chasing another god, and she asked for Zeus's help, and he ended up changing her into a tree, you know, so that he couldn't get to her, or something like that. So and there's a Bernini sculpture about it, like in mid-embrace, she has been transformed into a wooden tree. A beautiful Bernini sculpture. But this is fantastic. Taking this pose and looking at, or adding a story to it. How can we add a story to this one? I love this. It's probably not the best painting. You know, there's some issues in the body there, and a lot of a lot of the skill of the painting itself. But I really don't care too much about that. It's a fantastic painting. Okay, so that's on ArtStation. A bunch of blog posts called Your Art, My Reference, and it's a really great resource for looking at how to transform your references into something new and different. Now we're going to be using a reference from ArtStation as well. And this again is from, this is actually from Howard Lyon, and it's called Tessa Fairy Tale. Now I'll be adding in the link to the show notes, and I pulled out some portraits on here. And the first thing we're going to do is set up, let me open this up actually. Okay, this is the first one that we're going to work on. It's going to be a portrait. And there we go. And I'm going to be focusing on mainly the head here. But first, what we're going to do, and sorry, this stream is going a lot longer because I wanted to go over and look at inspiration that we can look at. But I want to set up a canvas so that we can have our inspiration along the top, and we could actually paint it or along the side, or have all of our reference within this canvas at the same time, so that we can really pull from all those references, all those master artists, and use it within our own. Wow, it's already 5:30, so we're already an hour into this, and I need to take another quick break for back health. So I'm going to take a quick break and I'll be right back. Okay, let's set this up. The portraits are going to be on an 8x10. I'm going to create a new document. And Control New is the way to do that. I'm going to change these to inches. And 150 resolution is going to be more than enough because we're going to be doing the workup, the preview workup of this and understanding of the portrait in digital first. The width is going to be 8. The height is going to be 10. And then we'll create this. What's important about this is that you know what canvases you have. If we have the plan to take this from traditional to digital, and you create a digital painting in a very strange size, and you don't have a canvas for it, you have to go out and build a canvas just to fit it. It's going to be a lot of extra work you don't need. If you don't have any canvases on hand, look at traditional sizes of canvases that you don't have to build. 8x10, 12x16, 14x18. There's a lot of canvas sizes out there, all the way up to 24x36, 30x40, 40x30, or 20x30. All these kind of things. Now the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to go through our references and things and cut out what we want. So first thing is I want to cut out the photo we're going to be working from, and I just need the head up here. So I'm going to make a selection, and I use Control R for that. Basically, it's this tool here, rectangular selection tool. Copy that. Actually, I need to add it as a reference image. So instead of doing that, I'm going to go up here to Image and trim image to size. Or no, trim image to selection. Okay. And then I can hit 1. So we're at 100%, which is these are large images from that reference pack. And that's really what's wonderful about it. You can get really close into this and see all the details. Love the reference packs on ArtStation. And then I can quickly save this to a folder. So go to Projects. This is the live stream portrait 1. And I'm going to create a new folder. And it's going to be for references. And this will be, we'll keep that as the name. So Tessa 918. Now, if you buy that reference pack, which I'll put the link in the description, the exact photo I'm working from is number 918. Now I can close this. We can go back to here, and I forget. See, that's the problem with not being in Krita for a while. I forget how to add the reference. I believe it's... Oh, that's right. It's a Docker. Settings, Dockers. Okay. Recorder. Am I wrong on that? Maybe it's not a Docker. Maybe I'm blind. So animation curves, animation timeline, arrange, artistic color, brush history, channels, comic manager. There's so much. Layers, onion scans, overview, palette, patterns, recorder. This is where people say, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Ah, there it is. It was this option here. So this is the little pin tool, which is weird. Like, why do they do that? And they put it in tool options. So it's a little bit weird. Anyway, so you can hit the little reference image tool, okay, and then the plus over here, and then I'm going to pick out Tessa. And there she is in all of her glory. Fantastic. Probably just a huge image. I could probably have cut that down to a bit smaller. And we'll do that with these as well. So Control R for me, and I'm just gonna grab the head for this, okay? Image, trim to selection, and the size of this image is, well, let's change the image size. Control Alt I need to remember that as well. 72, let's go down to like 500. There we go. And then I'm going to save this as ref1. Try and go through this as quick as possible on these. Oh, Manzi Jackson. Just fantastic. I love your art, Manzi. Absolutely beautiful. Trim to selection. Control Alt I. Yes, there we go. Oh, it's already pretty small. 572. Let's make it 500 exactly. And then save it. Ref 2. And then after I do all this, we're going to add it in. Robert Liberace. Right here. Trim to selection. Control Alt I. 500. Really small. I don't want to see all the details in this. I want to see those as you know, influences. I should do this with our reference as well. Oh jeez. So doing the same thing for all of these. And I just need the head, really. I don't need anything else. Trim to selection. Control Alt I. 500 on the width. And then save ref 5. Now, Thinker, you wanted to see soup to nuts. This is it, man. You know, all the stuff that, you know, I would do normally for anything. And this is it. And I would say that many people, many amazing artists, do the same thing. Looking at reference, being influenced by that, collecting reference. Oh, I do love this one. I mean, I don't even need the whole head on that one, just a section. That's a reminder that how far can you take it, Chris? The least amount that you need, right? Same here. Ooh, that's already tiny. Yeah, that's fine. And yeah, definitely this one. Let me see. Image. Actually, let's just change the size. Let's change the height to 500. Nine different reference images, or inspirational images. Sorry, we have reference images. This one reference image. Let me get rid of that. I'm going to change to the David Ravoy setup. Oops. Actually, I don't like the David Ravoy setup. Let's do this one here. I actually like this setup a lot. You see, can I add multiple at once? Paste references from system clipboard. Oh, that's nice. Load reference image set. Can I add more than one at a time? Let's see. Nope, only one at a time. Well, luckily it goes pretty quickly. Plus, tap, open. Plus, tap, open. Plus, tap, open. I'm always thinking, you know, within this stream, that there's somebody out there that is going, oh my god, really? This guy? Doing all this stuff? So boring. We live in an age where, or a time frame where time lapse is the only thing we can watch now, because we don't have the patience to watch, you know, a full real-time stream. Here we go, let's do it this way. All right, and then we save this as a created document in here. Now, I have already set this up before. You can see this image here, because I wanted to kind of see, you know, what I would like. And it's actually right here. So this is what we already have. But I'll show you how I did that. And I just want to kind of reference it because I really like the way that this was placed. So what you do is this is how you do it. You go to your rectangular selection tool, but you need an 8x10 selection, right? And you can't like eyeball that. It's going to be hard for you. So what you want to do is you go over here to the options. So in the tool options for the rectangular selection tool, you could change it to, let's say, 800. And these are pixels, doesn't matter. 800 by 1000, and then lock both of those. And then when you tap it on there, it's 800 by 1000, but that's not the important thing. The important thing is the ratio down here. I'm going to lock the ratio, and it's at 0.8. And I just did the 800 by 1000 to get like an 8x10 type number, so I could figure out the ratio really quickly. Now that I have the ratio locked, no matter what I select, it will be exactly 8x10. So if and to test that, see how it fits perfectly? Yeah, perfectly there. So we can take our rectangular selection tool. I'm going to look at where it starts on the neck. Do I even have the right shoulder there? Yeah, I do. So like right about here and up. Here's another thing that I'm thinking about when I do this. I want more room on the top of the head. Right about there. That's what we want. And actually, now I'm thinking about this, I should have done that on, you know, not on the reference that we have on the side, but on the original photo, right? So, would have been better to do it that way. That's okay, I already have that set up. So let's zoom way in, and let's just do it here. Oops, wrong button. Control R. Oh, it's 0.80 is what I want. And then let's do the selection here, and I'll create this as the reference, and I'll remove the other one. And I want the right side of her head pretty close to this edge. So image, trim to selection, and then I'm going to save. I'm going to call this Tessa 2. Save. Okay. Close that document because I don't want to mess with the original. And I'll delete that, and then I will add Tessa 2. And this should be exactly the same size. Yes, it is. But I don't want to do that. What I'm going to do is take this and make it real small. No details. We're going to interpret this image. We're not going to paint it directly, and we're going to use all of our inspiration to help us with that. Okay? That's the purpose of this. Why? And here's an important thing to note. If I go to what I created before, and this already has kind of a grid in it, okay? Because I was actually, before I was going to just paint directly from the photo. And you can do that. You don't have to do the whole digital workup on this. You can just paint directly from a photo. You know, I was going to put a grid on it and all that kind of stuff. But I want to take this beyond just the photo. So figure that out in digital first, and then into oil painting. So here's the next thing that I'm going to show you. Right click on the rulers, and if the rulers aren't showing for you, you can go to View, Show Rulers. And when you right click on the rulers, you can change them to inches. And now this is a 2-inch square. This red grid is a 2-inch square. A 1-inch square is if I take my rectangular selection tool. It's hard for me to say that today. And I make this square. This is important. It's so easy for us to think, oh, I'll just work up this image this size in Krita or in some digital software. And then when we go to transfer that to an oil painting, everything is so tiny as we're trying to fit it on an 8x10 oil painting that it's almost impossible to paint. Oh, Deb says, thanks for the references. I love Danny Lai and Richard Schmidt. Yeah, they are beautiful, right? ArtStation is one of the best places to look at. So we want to make sure that this, you know, we have our 8x10 set up here, but we don't want to paint a head on it. So I don't want to have, you know, let's say we did the entire reference, which is her standing here, like her head's here, shoulders are here, right? And the dress is kind of coming down this way. It's like this whole flowing thing. Beautiful neck. And her head is this big. Now, this is an 8x10 canvas. If I change this to inches, like, oops. If I wanted to paint this head, trying to get a square out here, but shift isn't working for some reason. Okay, anyway. This is a square. Well, that's 1 inch width. Yeah, the whole head is 1 inch width, so we don't want to do something that small, okay? So we have to blow it up to a certain size. This is 8x10 as well. And here's the kind of measurement that I use. I say that if I'm doing a portrait on an oil painting, the eye cannot be smaller than 1 inch across. 1 inch from the left tear duct to the right tear duct. And this is 1 inch here. Let me make sure it is. Yeah, 5 to 6, yeah. So this is 1 inch. At 1 inch across, I can paint an eye. Pretty detailed. Anything smaller than that, it's too small to paint detailed. So you have to make sure that when you set up a digital canvas, a digital image that is going to go into an oil painting, that you get your sizes correct so you're not trying to paint, you know, these little tiny details, you know, for an eye. You know, it'd be like one hairbrush. We don't want to get into all that kind of crazy detail. All right. It's officially been an hour and a half. Quick recap before I close out the stream for today. We went over a ton of different inspirational images. And if you're not collecting images, I would suggest that you do. Collect that inspiration, collect the artists that you love, and then use it for practices like this. And I'm going to take you from drawing to completion on this in the next couple streams. So look at the inspiration, find what you love, look at it, look at those artists continually, and pull them apart. Figure out how to do these things, right? Look at their beginning works, like works that are in progress, how they start, how they finish. And then cut out their art, right? Use it as inspiration for something that you're doing. ArtStation is great for that. You know, just Google images. I search for all kinds of artists and things. Wikipedia is wonderful for seeing, you know, just the huge list of all the works by artists. It's fantastic. So collect those, use those. Use ArtStation for these references. The references are absolutely amazing on ArtStation, but be careful of nudity. And then set up your, if you plan on going from digital to traditional, please, you know, and I would suggest that because you can get so much more understanding digitally and quicker that will just inform your paintings on the your oil painting so much more. But set it up like this. I would suggest Krita. Krita is better than Photoshop. That's right, I said that. Krita is better than Photoshop. Many people would disagree, but they would be wrong. They would be completely and utterly, no, I'm just kidding. Like, it's all about your preference. I like Krita because A, it's free. Anybody could use it, especially students out there that doesn't have a lot of money to pay $10 a month for Photoshop, right? I mean, it's, you know, what, $120 a year for Photoshop. Krita is completely free. I would suggest that you do donate to Krita. And it has all of this ability that Photoshop does not. It's a real painting software. Photoshop is a photo manipulation software that is trying to be a painting software. But try them both, you know, experiment. And now I feel like I'm rambling. Okay, the next stream, it's going to be all about starting the drawing of our portrait of Tessa here and getting that laid up, getting that figured out. Because one of the things that we've seen through all of this inspiration is they know drawing, they know form, and then after that foundation is set, then they can do whatever they want with it. Thanks guys for joining me on this stream. Sorry it was kind of long-winded with a lot of stuff and not getting into the art, but hopefully it helped you find some new and different artists for more inspiration and yeah, to start your own portrait painting along with me. All right, that being said, thank you so much. I will see you tomorrow.